David Chang is talking to us about his struggles to overcome professional and personal struggles that include much more than the pandemic. Chang, of course, is the celebrated chef and restaurateur of 13 restaurants around the world, many under the Momofuku name. He's also the creator and host of the Dave Chang Show podcast and 2 Netflix shows, including the food and travel show Ugly Delicious. But in a deeply personal new memoir, he talks about dealing with his challenges. And first on CBS This Morning, he spoke to us from his Los Angeles restaurant, Major Domo.
It is a battle of survival. That is as clear as that. Survival is the word in this industry. What are we serving today?
For Chef David Chang, it's personal.
Are we doing pasta for 2? Or
the 6-time James Beard Award winner has had to close 2 of his restaurants and consolidate 2 more due to the pandemic.
You kind of like being the underdog.
I do, because it gets my juices flowing and I get the best work done. But this is a very difficult obstacle.
This crisis for the restaurant industry comes as it's already confronting Me Too allegations and its notoriously toxic work environment.
Whether it's workers' rights, benefits, or abuse in a kitchen, we need to have these conversations to fix this moving forward. And I think before you can sort of fix your culture and your kitchen and your restaurants, you need to sort of work on yourself first. And you know, I've been a bully, and I have a temper, and it's something I've tried to address over the years.
In his new memoir, Eat a Peach, Chang writes, "I hate that the anger has become my calling card."
Where did your temper come from?
And the funny thing is, I don't think I really had the temper until I got into cooking. I put so much meaning in cooking because it saved my life. It gave me purpose. So anyone that wound up not respecting it or caring about something as much as I did meant that it was an attack on me and my values.
The child of North and South Korean immigrants, Chang grew up in suburban Virginia. He was a child golf prodigy, but always felt uncomfortable in school.
You didn't feel like you fit in?
No, I still have a hard time. I've always felt, in between.
In between what?
Not ever going to be part of white culture and never going to be part of Korean American culture.
But Chang did feel at home in the kitchen. His father disapproved of his career, but gave him a loan to launch his first restaurant.
And that was his way of expressing love. He was unable to say, "I love you."
Chang's idea? To open a Japanese noodle shop in New York City. In 2004, it was a huge gamble.
You keep putting yourself in situations where part of you thinks you really could fail.
You sound like my psychiatrist, too. It's like, why do I constantly put myself in situations that are so precarious? Every time I open a restaurant, I'm like, we're never doing this again. And
but you also say that opening a restaurant is like heroin for you.
It is. Cooking in general is like heroin because you just get these dopamine hits all the time. This industry and how I do my job is 99% suffering and pain and misery. It's that 1% when things go right that makes it all worthwhile.
The Beard Award goes to David Chang.
Momofuku was a breakout success, but Chang had trouble accepting the acclaim.
Food and Wine called to tell you that you were going to be one of the best new chefs, and you wanted to decline.
I did decline it. And then Dana Cowan said, in 20 years of me doing this, no one's ever said no, and you're not going to be the first one. If you have low self-esteem and low confidence, and no one's ever told you you're good at anything, and all of a sudden people tell you you're good at something, how are you supposed to process that? The easiest way is to deflect it and say it's not true and to put your head in the sand. And that's what I did, and I still do.
Chang, who's battled depression, was close with food and travel icon Anthony Bourdain, who died by suicide in 2018.
That must have really shaken you.
That was hard, and still is hard. When Tony passed, I think honestly that was one of the reasons why I decided to actually take this book on in earnest. I was tired of being able to not talk about this in public.
Chang now works with a therapist who diagnosed him with bipolar disorder.
I didn't realize that I was depressed in high school or college till I actually got help. I just thought, this is just me, and everything seems terrible, and I'm sad, and I don't know why I have these thoughts. All I want people to understand is the hardest thing and the bravest thing you can often do is just to say you need help.
His wife, Grace, has been a big help. And now, with son Hugo to raise, David Chang is trying to change the future by being honest about his past.
Being able to create a family with my wife, I'm learning there are more important things than work.
It's a serious goose.
What do you see when you see Hugo?
I want someone that doesn't make the same mistakes I do. And I just want to be the best father I can. My happiness is going to be the systematic deprogramming of whoever the hell I think that I am into be someone else that I hope that I am. Yeah.
What a great picture. Wow. This book is all about David Chang trying to understand himself. And it's fascinating because he is just blisteringly honest about everything. I mean, he writes, I feel a compulsion to legitimize my depression even now. Depression and the choice to resist it are the only reasons you're hearing from me here.
Well, I admire him so much. Number one, Anthony, that was a great interview for David Chang to open up the way he did. And people only do that when they feel comfortable talking to you. So bravo to you for that. But when he said the bravest thing you can do sometime is to say you need help. I remember seeing he and Grace out and about when she was pregnant. And he was so happy about the baby coming. And Hugo is adorable. And just imagine the kind of father he's now going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
It's a beautiful piece.
very touched by that.
And I'm sure he wouldn't want me to say it, but it seems like he's becoming a beautiful person if he never thought so himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's still wrestling with all that stuff, as you can see, but he's confronting it, and he does that in this book. It's a great read.
Yeah.
David Chang's new memoir, Eat a Peach, is on sale now wherever you buy your books. And hear more of our conversation with David Chang on today's CBS This Morning podcast.